big little legs. Skinny kid with plenty.
Yo, what's up, YouTube? It's ZTAY, aka Lil Red. We got my top 30 NBA players of all time. I just reacted to Flight's top 100. I'm not gonna do 100 because that's way too much. And I feel like if you do 100, you're not really fully deep dive into it and really thinking about it. It took me the first half of this day to come up with this list. Now, before we get started, there are a couple people that I want to put on for recognition because they did not make the top 30, and I think that they could be argued for top 30. So those players are Jason Kidd, Tracy McGrady, John Havlicek, Steve Nash, Patrick Ewing, Chris Paul, Elgin Baylor, Bob Pettit, Bob Cousy, Gary Payton, Dominique Wilkins, Elvin Hayes, Russell Westbrook, Carmelo Anthony, Paul Pierce, Reggie Miller, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Shout out to those dudes. They could be argued to be on the later portion, like, you know, towards 30, 29, 28. Anybody could argue those, and I'm not going to be mad. But I did not have them on my list. So let's start out. At number 30, I have Nikola Jokic. Now, I know a lot of people say he could be higher, and I agree. But the reason I'm not putting him higher is because I don't think he's done. So I'm just going to wait until his career is over. Because most of the people ahead of him, actually, he is the only person on this list that I think is like towards the start of his career. Everybody else is towards the end of their career or is retired already. So that being said, number 29 is Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade won the championship 2006. Yes, it was with Shaq. He has 3 finals championships and 1 finals MVP, and that's gonna put him at 29. At 28, we got Scottie Pippen. Now this could be kind of controversial. Maybe some people think he could be higher. He does have 6 championships. Now, I don't want to go into finals MVP and think it's super important, but I think that Scottie Pippen was more of a role player and a defensive player. And I understand he's, you know, a Hall of Famer, top 75 of all time. And I don't even think it's disrespectful to put him at 28. But you guys can, you know, talk about it in the comments, because at 27, we got Allen Iverson. AI. Changed the game in basketball. Lots of rules in the NBA changed because of him. And not only that, he has an MVP. And he went to the finals versus the 2001 Lakers, who didn't lose a single game in the playoffs, and he beat them game 1 in LA. Now, I understand that's just one game, but I think Allen Iverson deserves to be ranked this high. And I wanted to put him higher, but I didn't want to disrespect anybody. At 26, we got my boy James Harden. Now, a lot of people aren't going to like this, but I don't care, bro. James Harden, top 20 scoring all time. He's not done yet. Top 5 for 3-pointers made all time. He's not done yet. He's got an MVP. He could have more, and he definitely could have had more than 1 finals appearance. He did have one for the OKC Thunder, but he faced one of the greatest teams of all time, that Kevin Durant Warriors team. And we ain't even going to get into it because I honestly think that game 7 was not called fairly. But whatever. Moving to 25. Whatever number we're on. 25, Kawhi Leonard. I did put him above James Harden. He is one of the few active players that is on this list. The reason I have him higher than James Harden is because he has 2 or 3 finals MVPs. I think he has 2 finals MVPs, 3 championships, 2 with the Spurs, 1 with the Raptors. That's the only reason he went to the Spurs. I mean, he went to the Raptors and just won a championship his first year there, then dipped. That's how nice he is. So Kawhi's at 25. I don't think anybody could argue that he shouldn't be in the top 30. But let me know. 24, we got Isaiah Thomas, IT, the original Isaiah Thomas. And I could have put him higher. Now, a lot of people might not even put him this high, but in my opinion, he should be this high. He's 6'1", represented for the shorter players, and he took down Michael Jordan in the playoffs. He has 2 championships. Zeke deserves to be on this list. At 23, we got David Robinson. Now, I was going back and forth with this. This is the part where I was having some trouble because I really Didn't know where to place a couple of these players. So the next couple of players, they could be flip-flopped and rearranged, but this is the order that I went in after some thinking. David Robinson, he's got a couple championships. He's got a Defensive Player of the Year. He's got an MVP. He's one of 5 people in NBA history to have an MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year award. And he's won championships. One of the best centers ever. David Robinson. 22. We got Jerry West, the logo. I had to put Jerry West in here. It's hard to rank Jerry West because of the competition back in the day. But he's had 9 finals appearances. Yes, he only has 1 win, and his finals MVP actually came in a loss. But it was against the Celtics, who had a whole bunch of I think they had 11 championships. And that's why I was including John Havlicek at the beginning, because Havlicek has 8 of those. It was hard not to put him in here. But like I said, I didn't want to go too far back. I just had to put Jerry West on the list. And I was debating on putting him over a couple of these dudes. But at 21, we got Kevin Garnett. Now, this is an interesting one. This was like an X factor for me trying to rank him. Because when I first thought of Kevin Garnett, I saw him on a lot of people's lists. I was like, really? Kevin Garnett, top 30 of all time. But then I didn't really think about, he was on the Timberwolves before the Celtics. I think a lot of people, think of him on the Celtics because that's when he won his championship. But he took the Timberwolves to the Western Conference Finals. The Timberwolves, I don't even think they've ever gotten past that. And he has an MVP and a Defensive Player of the Year. One of 5 players in NBA history to do that, alongside David Robinson. At 20, we have Dr. J. Now, Dr. J was the star before the stars, before Larry Bird, before Magic Johnson, and I had to put some respect on his name, putting him in the top 20. Maybe if you look at his stats, they might not, some of these dudes I might have named might be better, might have better careers, more championships, but Dr. J's been to championships. He just lost to a very, very good team. But yeah, Dr. J's got to be on this list, especially a lot of NBA players idolized him growing up. So he's definitely got to be on the list for that alone. At 19, we got Charles Barkley. Now, I almost forgot about him. I had to go back and put him in the list and kick somebody off. I did kick Chris Paul off the list and put Charles Barkley in, and I put him high up in the list. 19th, top 20 all time. I got Charles Barkley. He went to the finals, but he faced against Jordan and he didn't win. But Charles Barkley, one of the greatest players ever. And he's at the power forward position, and I think he was like the start, or not the start, one of the greatest power forwards of all time. And there hasn't really been that many elite power forwards. And when there is, they're definitely some of the best players in the world. He's kind of undersized, but he played bigger. One of the greatest rebounders of all time, top 20 all time in rebounds. So we got Charles Barkley at 19. At 18, we got Oscar Robertson. And it was very hard for me to find a place for Oscar Robertson because I've seen him as high as top 10 in some people's lists. But in my opinion, I don't think he is top 10. He's the first player ever to average a triple-double. His stats are crazy for his career. He is top 20 scoring all time. And he is 8th all time in assists. I believe he's 18th highest scoring player in NBA history. His stats are crazy. He has a championship. He does not have a finals MVP because he had Kareem, but he's a big part of that team. And he was back in the day in the 70s, but you got to put the big O somewhere. I feel like this is a good place for him. I think I could have moved him up a little bit more, but I definitely got to watch like a documentary on Oscar Robertson because I need to know a little bit more about him. I know he was Mr. Triple Double. He had the triple double record, and that was back in the day. So back in the day, they probably never seen something like this. A point guard that could rebound, score, and pass. And he's still top 10 in assists in NBA history. Top 20 scoring. So you got to put him on the list. 17, we got Dirk Nowitzki. Now, above Kevin Garnett, some people might be like, really? Above Charles Barkley, above some of these people that have more championships than him. But I think his championship that he won is one of the greatest championships ever. He beat LeBron James in that stacked Miami Heat roster. And that same year, they swept the Lakers and Kobe Bryant in the conference finals, which hurt. But he made the finals 2 times, 2 finals appearances, and he has a championship in 2011. He is the greatest European player of all time. He is the first European player to ever make an All-Star game, and he has an MVP. So I have to put him in that alone. I believe he's the only European player on this entire list. So that's saying something, and that's why I had him top 20. Maybe a lot of people don't have Dirk this high, but that's why I had him top 20. He put on for European players, and now look at the NBA. Everybody's European. Although I did have Jokic. I forgot about Jokic. Anyways, at 16, we got Kevin Durant. It was also hard because the next person above him, I really thought about it. You could definitely put KD above him. When you think about it, just names alone, and you think about how they play, he definitely would put him above the guy at 15. My top 15, I spent a lot of time on the top 15 because I wanted top 15 to be special. And unfortunately, KD couldn't make that. He does have 3 championships, I believe. It might be 2. No, 3? See, I can't even think. He's been to one on the Thunder, and that's the one I respect the most because it was his team. Now, he had Russell Westbrook and James Harden, but it was his team. Now you go to the Warriors, it was Steph Curry's team, but in the finals, it was Kevin Durant's team. And that's why I have him so high, 16. Kevin Durant also is a great scorer. He is top 10 all time, and he is still playing. So that's just saying something. One of the greatest scorers in NBA history, Kevin Durant at 16. By the way, he does have 2 championships. He lost the 3rd one, which was the Thunder one, or the first one. So he has 2 championships, 2 finals MVPs. And this is where it gets interesting, maybe a little controversial, because at number 15, I know a lot of people probably not going to like this, and I see him kind of low on a lot of people's lists, but that is John Stockton. Now, the reason I have John Stockton so high, he is number 1 in assists all time, and it's not even close. Like, nobody's even close to him. Number 1 in steals all time, and if you just look at him, he shouldn't have that. Now, he did have Karl Malone on his team, who is top 3 all time scoring. So it's, some people could say it's easy for him to get assists, just dump it down to him in the post, and he's getting, but in my opinion, he's one of the greatest point guards of all time. I did put him above Oscar Robertson, even though he's never won a championship, and that might be controversial, and that's why some people be like, oh, why is he so high? He's above Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's champion. Yes, but he was playing Michael Jordan in the finals, and nobody's beating Michael Jordan in the finals, 6-0 in the finals. The only reason he's so high on my list, and like I said, I could understand if somebody wants to put Kevin Durant above him, is just because he's number 1 in assists, number 1 in steals. And that's just crazy to think about it. Just his statistics alone is the reason he's 15. At number 14, we got Hakeem Olajuwon. Now, Hakeem's the number 1 shot blocker of all time. Most blocks in NBA history. And he wasn't just known for his defense. He was known for his post play. He was a scorer. He's top 15. I believe he's 13 all time in points scored in NBA history. And he took the Rockets, who were not that good, to the NBA Finals and won twice. 2 Finals MVPs, 2 championships, one of the greatest centers of all time. He does have an MVP too. Does he have 2? No, he only has 1. It's crazy. He's only been on, I think, 5 all NBA defensive teams, first team, and he leads all NBA in blocks. So blocks ain't everything, I guess. Anyways, coming in at number 13 is going to be Moses Malone. Now, this one's interesting because I was really taking a look at Moses Malone's career. He had a great career. Now, he is, back in the day, so not a lot of people might know about him or know too much about him, but he has 3 MVPs. He's an NBA champion, and he has a finals MVP for the Philadelphia 76ers. I had to put Moses Malone in there just for that alone. 3 MVPs. And on top of that, He is 11th all time in scoring. He was a scorer. And it's crazy because nobody really talks about him like that. 11th all time in scoring. And on top of that, he's top 5 all time in rebounds. So he's a rebound and scoring machine. Moses Malone at 13. At 12, we got Karl Malone. Now, I know this could be controversial also, because a lot of people don't like Karl Malone and John Stockton, let's be honest. So that's why people might be getting mad that they're this high. The reason I got Karl Malone so damn high, yes, he's never won a championship. Yes, he hasn't really performed up to his standards when it comes down to the big games and the finals and playoffs, but he is top 3 all time in scoring. He was the most dominant power forward scoring wise in NBA history. Now, I couldn't put him at top 10 because he doesn't have a championship, and that's the knock on him. He's never won, but at the same time, like I was saying earlier, it's against Michael Jordan. So you could say that. But it was hard for me to put him any lower than this, and I know I've seen a lot of rankings where he was extremely low. Flight put him at 77. And maybe I'm overcompensating for that, but really, I think he should be this high. And I know a lot of people don't like him, and that's probably the reason they don't have him in this high. I know the knock on him is he's never won a championship, but he is a 2-time MVP. Now, I almost put Moses Malone ahead of him. And the only reason I didn't is just because of this guy's scoring and where he ranks scoring all time. And I know stats ain't everything, but Moses Malone probably has better accolades, but Karl Malone has the better stats. You can flip him, I won't be mad, to be honest, but he does deserve to be this high up. Now, this is where it's going to start getting interesting. We're getting close to the top 10. At number 11, we have Shaq. Now, I'm wearing his jersey right now. Shaq would be much higher if he stayed with the Lakers, but he couldn't. I know he couldn't. Shaq is the most dominant center ever, and it's crazy that I didn't put him in the top 10 now that I'm thinking about it. And I definitely could have put him in the top 10. The only reason I did not put him in the top 10 is because he left the Lakers. He did win a championship right after he left the Lakers too in 2006 with the Miami Heat and Dwayne Wade, which is the reason why Dwayne Wade is on this list, to be honest. But I think the back half of Shaq's career is the reason he is not top 10 for me, because I feel like he just ruined his career towards the end, just playing with all those teams, jumping around from team to team to team, and I don't know. Maybe I think that's why I don't have him top 10. Because I notice when I'm ranking players, like based on my ranking, loyalty means a lot to me. Like if a player's loyal to a team his entire career, like Dirk, Tim Duncan, they're going to be high on my list because they're sticking through the tough times. It's something to do with personality. And I think that's also where I rank people based on their personality, what they did for the game, what they inspired other players to do, the type of leadership they have. And I think loyalty is leadership. And Shaq is a 4-time NBA champion. It is very hard not to put him higher on this list because there are some people I think that are higher than him that don't have that much championships. But I think loyalty goes into it a little bit, and I think the drop off later on in his career, although there are some other players on this list that had the same thing, so I can't really hold that against them. But yeah, Shaq's number 11. I'm not going to rant no more. At number 10, top 10, Tim Duncan. Tim Duncan. I could have put him higher too, but Tim Duncan is top 10 in my opinion. I've seen a lot of people put him 4. I've seen people put him at 4. I've seen people put him over Kobe Bryant, which to me is crazy. Tim Duncan stayed with the Spurs his whole career. Now, a lot of people could say, yeah, that's because the Spurs were always good when he was on the team. But he is the definition of a power forward. Him, Kevin Garnett, are the modern day definition of the power forward. Like the last really solid power forward in the NBA, because now the power forward is not really a power forward anymore. They're all just kind of oversized small forwards, they're just wing players. So I think he's one of the last to do it, and he had almost a perfect career. He had 5 NBA championships. He should have had 6, But they lost to the Heat on some BS. I was very disappointed in them because that's when I did not like the Miami Heat because they had a super team. All right, 5 NBA championships, 3 Finals MVPs, and 2 MVPs. It could be backwards. It could be the other way. I'm pretty sure that's how it is. So Tim Duncan, one of the best players to ever play the game of basketball, is top 10. And now we're getting under the top 10. At number 9, we got Larry Bird. Back-to-back MVPs. The reason Larry Bird is so high on my list, maybe you look at the stats and be like, he never averaged a 30-point per game season. He did have 29.9, I believe, 29.8. But the reason I have him so high is because he kind of, I don't want to say saved the league, but helped the NBA a lot when he came in with Magic. He formed a dynasty with the Celtics, made the Celtics relevant again, and had a very dominant career in that. And on top of that, he has 3 championships, 2 Finals MVPs. Now, I don't like the final MVP debate because there are some players on this list that I have ranked very high that don't have as much Finals MVPs. But Larry Bird was, I couldn't say he carried the Celtics. They had a really good team. Ken McHale, Robert Parrish, but I gotta put him top 10. Now, is he over Larry Bird? Tim Duncan. You could say Tim Duncan had the better career, same situations, both had really good teams. But I think the reason I'm putting Larry Bird so high is I think he really did help the NBA in a time where viewership wasn't that high. At the time, it was tape delay games. So I think Larry Bird really did help the NBA along with Magic Johnson. At number 8, we got Bill Russell. I had to put Bill Russell top 10 because he has 11 championships. Not only that, I believe that's the most championships as a player too. Not only that, he was like the start. So you got to respect the OGs. And every player on this list looked up to Bill Russell, which is the reason he's so high. Yes, that goes into my consideration when ranking players. He didn't have the craziest stats offensively, but he's one of the greatest defensive players of all time. And not only that, he is second all time in rebounds. Now, I understand back in the day, maybe players weren't as good and not as tall, and that's why he got all the rebounds with Wilt. But Bill Russell is number 8, and saying that number 7 is Wilt Chamberlain. Those, I had to tie them together because I think they're the same level. Like I said, the same kind of situation too. At the beginning of all of it, everybody got respect for him. Now, Wilt could have been higher, but it's hard. Some of the Wilt stories that I hear are crazy. He was like, how today we got Victor Wembanyama and everybody's like, man, he's doing things that nobody else could do athletically or, anything like that on the court. That was Wilt Chamberlain before that. And he had an amazing career statistically, like probably better than anybody else ever statistically. Number 1 all time in rebounds. Top 10 all time in scoring. He's 7th all time in scoring. He's got 4 MVPs. Now the knock on him is that he only has 1 NBA championship, I believe, and 1 Finals MVP. Does he have more than 1? My bad. 2-time NBA champion, 1 Finals MVP, 2 MVPs. But if you go back and look at his averages, nobody's even close. He has the greatest numbers when it comes to averages in NBA history. When people try to argue statistics and then, they bring up, oh, look at this person's averages. This person's averages weren't that good. And then somebody just says, yeah, look at Wilt's averages. People just say, yeah, but that's just Wilt. It's not fair. So he's on a different level. He scored 100 points in a game. Wilt could have been higher on this list. Now, this is where it kind of gets a little controversial for a lot of people. But at number 6, I know this might be a little bit crazy, but I have Stephen Curry. This might be a little crazy. If I said this a couple years ago, I would think I'm being delusional and crazy. But the fact that Stephen Curry won without Kevin Durant after Kevin Durant left with the Warriors that everybody already had given up on, really moved him up on my list a lot. He's the all-time 3-point scorer in NBA history. Nobody's ever going to pass it. Maybe they will. But he's the greatest scorer the game has ever seen. He changed the NBA. You watch an NBA game, it's never the same because of Stephen Curry. Not only that, he's a small, undersized guard. And I always have respect for small, undersized guard, which is the reason I probably had John Stockton so high, Isaiah Thomas, Allen Iverson on this list, because I respect small guards. It's not as easy. Now, he's the smallest player in the top 10 on my list. And that's another reason he's at 6. He's a 4-time NBA champion with only 1 Finals MVP. That is the knock on Steph Curry. 2 MVPs. One was unanimous, the only one in NBA history. Can't really argue against that. That's crazy. Now, for the Finals MVP debate, I really think he should have at least 3. At least 2, but 3. Iguodala shouldn't have got it that year. And he should have got it over Kevin Durant the last time they played. Or he could have, maybe not should have. That's why I think Finals MVP is a stupid award, because some of these players definitely could have got it, but they didn't. Call me crazy, but I have Stephen Curry 6 all time. Now, top 5, this is where it gets interesting. A lot of people are going to get mad, whatever, because their favorite player is too low, too high, not in the list. Whatever, this is my top 5 of all time. If you have a different top 5, you could comment it. You can make a video about it. Everybody got their own opinions. Everybody sees the game differently. Now, some people are going to disagree. You don't watch basketball, but that's literally all I do. Like, I literally have no life besides watching basketball. So that comment will never get to me for the people that say that. I watch more basketball than you, I promise you. This is literally what I do with my life. Anyways, 5th all time, none other than the greatest point guard of all time, Magic Johnson. Now, Magic Johnson could have been higher on this list if his career did not get cut short. He came into the league and won Finals MVP as a rookie with a team that had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on it, going against his idol, Dr. J. That's the greatest start to any career. Now, a lot of people be like, he was drafted to a good team, blah, 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 blah. He can't, that's not anything to do with him. But on top of that, he's one of the greatest passers anybody has ever seen. And that's what a point guard is. He was also the first point guard that was huge like this. Now, everybody wants to compare people to, like LeBron and Ben Simmons. Who's the next Magic Johnson? He was the start of it. And what's crazy is his stats are very good, and he's played half the time that most of the people on the top of the leaderboards have. He's only played half a career. Towards the end, didn't even count. I'm sorry. But he's 7th all time in assists doing that. Imagine if he played a full career. I think he could have had a chance to pass John Stockton in assists. He's a 5-time NBA champion. 5. He was the first player in NBA history to have a $1 million deal. He changed the way that the NBA contracts are. And he was part of one of the most overpowered dynasties that the NBA has ever seen, in the Showtime Lakers. He was the head of that. Now, you could say Kareem, and I think they go hand in hand, but Magic has 3 Finals MVPs for the people that like that argument. 3 Finals MVPs, 3 MVPs. I believe he's a 12-time All-Star, and he barely even played 12 seasons. So Magic Johnson, top 5. At number 4, we have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, I had to put those two back to back, just like I did Bill Russell and Wilt. You could flip them. I wouldn't even get mad. But Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was the leading scorer in NBA history until LeBron passed it. And nobody thought anybody was going to pass that record. He did it all with a sky hook. He was skinny, but tall. And I think back then, centers weren't skinny and tall. They were mostly big and muscular. So a tall, skinny the captain, bro. A tall, skinny center dominated the league and had the most points in NBA history with a sky hook. And on top of that, he was part of the Lakers dynasty. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is a 6-time NBA champion, the same amount as Michael Jordan. Not only did he win all the championships with Magic, he won one in Milwaukee with Oscar Robertson and did get Finals MVP for that. I believe he has 3 Finals MVPs. 2 Finals MVPs for Kareem. And that's what people want to knock him for, because Magic got a whole bunch of them. But I think one of the craziest parts about Kareem, 6 championships, 6 MVPs. That's how you know he was the best player when he was playing. The captain. Top 4 all time. 6 MVPs? Are you kidding me? That's crazy. Now, I understand MVPs and final MVPs, I don't think should totally, make somebody better than somebody else because it is being voted on by whoever, the media, right? So you can't always trust that. But I think 6 times just shows how good and dominant he was and how everybody respected him in the league. And not only that, he has 6 championships, and championships is what it's about. And now, I know the whole rings argument, a lot of people don't like it, but he was the main dude for it. Now, top 3, this is, a lot of people are going to get mad right now. I have LeBron James. A lot of people are going to get mad. LeBron James, top 3. Now, I have a lot of stuff to say about it. I'm not going to try to, make people mad. This is not for clicks. This is really how I felt my entire life. LeBron James, the reason that he's not higher, like I said earlier, loyalty is on my top of my mind. Now, I understand he won with Cleveland. That was the greatest championship I've ever watched in my life. Come back 3-1 against the Golden State Warriors. That was the greatest team of all time, by the way, the Warriors. So that championship, the weight of it is crazy. Now, I don't want to downplay his championships, but I think he's always kind of gone to whatever rosters help him out the most instead of just staying loyal, stay through it. And I think he's really wants to be the GOAT a little bit too much. And I think that's the reason I don't have him as the best player of all time. Because sometimes I feel like he cares about being the best all time instead of winning. I don't know, man. I don't know. That might be crazy because I understand he's a winner. 10 finals appearances. Are you crazy? He's 40 years old, still doing what he's doing. Longevity, nobody's ever seen it, and he's still going. He's the all-time NBA leading scorer, which is insane because nobody thought that record would be passed, and he's not even a scorer. And on top of that, he has 4 NBA championships, 4 finals MVPs. He got it every single time, and 4 MVPs. He actually has a scoring championship too, I believe in 2008. So for the people that say he's not a scorer, he is a scorer. He's one of the most versatile players of all time. And I believe he's top 5 in assists too. One of the greatest passers of all time. So yeah. Number 2, this is where people are going to get mad. Kobe Bryant. I don't care what anybody has to say. Kobe Bryant, in my opinion, could be number 1. But yes, he's over LeBron James. 5 NBA championships. 5. And that's what LeBron's trying to chase desperately right now. If LeBron gets 5, I'll put him above Kobe. But I really don't think LeBron's going to get 5. I think his chance was last year. We didn't do it. But you could just tell I feel like he's still playing catch up with Kobe Bryant. Yes, he passed him in scoring, but I think that's just injuries. LeBron, longevity, like I said. He had the ability to stay healthy and be consistent throughout his career. Kobe had ups and downs, injuries, missed seasons, ruined the end of his career because of all the injuries he had, Achilles, whatever. And I think Kobe's stats would have been a lot better for that. And especially came into the league very, very, very early. And so did LeBron, both out of high school. But in my opinion, he came in as a backup. On a team that already had somebody pretty good ahead of him in Eddie Jones. And he was determined to show everybody that he was the next Michael Jordan. And I think he replicated what Jordan did perfectly. Couldn't have done it better. Matter of fact, I think he should have 6 championships, which is what Kobe was chasing after so long, which is why I put him at 2 behind Jordan. But I think he faced tougher competition than Michael Jordan. And people want to say he only has 2 finals MVPs, but I think he could have had more. He should have had at least 1 with Shaq because there were games where he carried that team. But the last 2, he beat Boston's super team. Yes, he didn't have the greatest game 7, but he rebounded the damn ball when he needed to. He just did anything to win. That's all Kobe cared about, was winning. He was loyal. Yes, there was some times where he wanted to leave, but in my opinion, he is the greatest basketball player ever. He loved the game better than anybody. He set the best example for how people should play the game, how people should train for the game, how people should work for the game. And the reason that I have Michael Jordan at number 1 is because Michael Jordan has had the greatest career ever. Literally perfect career. 6 for 6, 6 finals MVPs, 6 championships, 5 MVPs. He had a defensive player of the year, rookie of the year. The list goes on for accolades. But the reason I have Jordan at number 1 is because he's never lost in the finals. He had a perfect career. He saved the NBA. The NBA was not popular at the time. Jordan came into it. He was the cover athlete for everything. And the fact that this right here, the fact that these shoes right here are worth $300 damn in the year 2024 is the reason that Michael Jordan is the GOAT. The impact that he had not only on the game but on the culture of basketball. People still wear his shoes to this day. They're still popular, and he don't even really have a voice anymore. He stays quiet. He really doesn't. You don't even hear anything about Michael Jordan because he's not a loud personality guy. But yeah, Michael Jordan is the GOAT in my opinion. Let me know if you guys have anything differently. I know there's gonna be people mad. There's going to be some people that agree, but that's what the comment section is for. Hit the like button if you liked it and you support the channel and you want to help the channel out. Hit the dislike button. I don't care, bro. That's your right, just like how it is my right to make this video. But this is not me trolling. This is actually what I truly believe from my own eyes and from all the data that's in front of me. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. This is ZTAY. Peace.